So the full auto discussion is pretty much done. People have presented ideas on potential changes. I did a video on some different directions it could go, and on a recent stream, Hugo talked with the chat, more specifically with myself, Arrhythmia, and Bloodshot, and I want to present a consensus, more or less, of what definitely needs to be done if they're going to change this weapon mod. A helpful user by the name of UberCringe, great name by the way, has created a PC mod that implements the following changes, and I gotta say, it feels fantastic. I have already mentioned some of this stuff in my other full auto buff video, but this video is more of a straightforward presentation of the buff direction, hopefully useful to the developers. I think most people agree that a slight damage buff would be fine, nothing crazy, and you could do that by straight up buffing each shot, or you could just increase the fire rate so you're doing more damage but at the cost of shells. However they handle it, I think it'll be fine. I personally like the increased fire rate at the cost of shell consumption because it plays into the salvo extender perk and smart use of the weapon. The mod I'm using decreases the firing interval value from 160 to 150 to give a slight boost to the firing rate. But if they go with buffing the damage of each shot instead, that's fine too. There's a few things that make full auto a bit awkward to use, and I think it made sense in theory to limit this thing since it's a first level mod. In a game where you want players to be learning about switching weapons, you don't want to give them something powerful enough to lean on in the first levels before they've even learned how to play. But I think you can adjust this thing without making it a weapon that negatively affects the opening sections or weapon balance overall. First, the mobility penalty. I don't personally have a view on this. I know Bloodshot would like it to go away. I am okay with moving slower using full auto because I've found my ways to make that work. Some people would like the mobility penalty to go away altogether, or you could just reduce the penalty further. Whatever it is, I don't care. Reduce it, leave it. I think it's the least of the problems. Second, zoom and aiming sensitivity. The zoom should go away because not only does it not help with anything, because this is not a long-range weapon that needs a zooming focus feature, but it actively hurts you because it affects your aiming sensitivity. When trying to incorporate full auto into the chaos of Doom Eternal and dealing with highly mobile enemies like stone imps, it's frustrating to have your sensitivity reduced to the point where you can't turn around and deal with enemies around you. This mod I'm using removes the zoom and removes the mouse or controller sensitivity change while aiming, and it feels great. Third, transformation time. I don't think the transformation time is a big deal, because like I said in my other full auto video, Mobile Turret is the same way. Lock on Rockets has a wind up. It's okay. But it would definitely be cool if it were reduced a bit, to better incorporate full auto into combos. This would make switching to full auto from meat hook for strategic kills more viable. And it sucks that in the time that it takes to switch to full auto and wind up the transformation, you could have already shot the super shotgun and moved on to something else. This mod boosts the wind-up speed of the unupgraded combat shotgun full auto mod by 30%, which then goes on to feel even better because the upgraded speed also has a 30% boost. The weapon is easier to incorporate, and since it's transforming a little faster, in combination with the firing rate increase, we get a nice initial damage buff when we start using full auto because now it's also firing sooner. Fourth, tighten the spread. This mod reduces the spread value from 3 to 2, which makes full auto work much better at mid-range. Since it isn't really a power weapon, it's better if we can use it at this footsie's range. It feels more tactical, which is nice. Fifth, the recovery time, which in my opinion is the most important. When using full auto, there's a really annoying detransformation when you stop firing. It makes it very awkward to switch weapons because you either have to wait for it to finish recovering before you can switch, or you can keep holding the weapon mod button and switch weapons to skip the recovery time. However, some weapons can't be switched to like that. For example, if you switch to rocket launcher with remote detonation equipped, it works perfectly fine because the mod button doesn't do anything on its own. But if lock-on is equipped, you could start locking on when you don't want to, or you're firing full auto and try to switch to the ballista and you hold the weapon mod button to skip the recovery time and you start charging the alternate fire of the ballista. So this is just a really crappy way to get around it. And much worse than the weapon switching is the waiting time before you can glory kill or something else. If you're shooting full auto and decide to go for a glory kill, you have to deal with this terrible pause for the recovery first. You're just standing there, mashing melee, desperately trying to get the glory kill, but you can't, and that can get you killed. That's if you release the weapon mod button when you stop firing. You have to keep the button held if you want to glory kill immediately after firing. What's weird is that the delay only happens if you are firing full auto and then go through the detransformation time. If you just have full auto equipped and you're aiming it, and there's a glory kill, you can release the weapon mod button, which activates the recovery time, but you can actually glory kill immediately. The delay only happens if you're firing full auto and then activate the recovery. Then you have to wait. So this mod makes it so that the detransformation can be interrupted in any case, by a weapon switch or a glory kill, whatever. And it's honestly a wonderful solution. I wish I'd thought of that. I thought just make the recovery time less, but this is much better. Fire, activate detransformation, and just interrupt the animation if you want. So these are the directions that I and a few other prominent players have looked into, and as requested they are now presented here. To summarize, remove zoom and aiming sensitivity change, increase rate of fire, or give a per shot damage increase. Decrease the wind-up transformation speed by 30%. This applies to the unupgraded full auto mod and the upgraded one. Make the wind-down detransformation interruptible for weapon switching, glory kills, chainsaw, blood punch, etc. Tighten the spread from 3 to 2 to allow for better damage at mid-range. And possibly consider removing or decreasing the movement penalty even further with the upgrade. And that's it. Thanks for watching. If nothing changes to full auto, I think that's fine, but I know a lot of people would enjoy the weapon more if it had these changes, or at least some of them. And it would still feel special for the people who like it now.